Hi, I'm Isabella Demarko and this is my second channel. Today we are doing the overview of 2024. We're going to look at what my goals were at the beginning of the year, if I managed to achieve them, what were some of my fails, my challenges, what happened with my YouTube channel. I've seen some other creators do this. I really have enjoyed watching their videos. I know it's February. Hello Duchess, are you going to come up? Come up. We have Duchess here. This is Duchess. She, I guess, is going to be in the video too. So this is going to be very chatty and casual. So if you want to grab yourself a drink, put this on in the background, have a listen, have a chill. I have my little diary here with all of the things and topics I'm going to talk about, including some of you guys. So who were my most engaged viewers of this year that I noticed? So my goals for last year, 2024, were actually quite simple. I didn't have many, but I only really completed one of them. If you did not complete any of your goals, don't feel bad about it. Sometimes it happens. Yeah, a lot of my plans last year did not go to plan and I wanted to talk about it. So I started off the year, I was living with my mum at the time and my YouTube channel was kind of in a bit of a rut, in a bit of a weird place. I had just moved out of Brighton. Brighton was weird for me. My channel for the past couple of years had been going through trying to figure out where I stand with my YouTube channel. I was trying to veer away from hair care and do other things. I don't know if you can hear Duchess, her breathing is very loud. Yes, I'm talking about you. It's a long story, so I won't go into it, but my YouTube channel has had a whole load of ups and downs, changing my niche, like trying different content ideas, but I decided to come back to what had always worked, and that was hair care. I realized that the hair care videos were really the only ones getting views, and if I was going to continue trying to earn a living out of it and pay my rent and bills, that meant I had to stick with what was working. So that is why I ended up making this channel where I can scratch my little itch for making slightly more unusual, off-topic, more casual content. I also want to run you through some of my YouTube statistics. So some of my top videos that I made in 2024 were my bold glamour video. That was my first video. This was something a little bit off topic for me, but it was something I was so interested in. It actually fulfilled my soul to make this little mini series. It was meant to have an episode 3, but I never ended up making it because my living situation changed. I also made a hair care routine video for dry hair. That did pretty well as well. I also did a 7 days of hair care video, which did pretty well. Revisiting the curly girl method. Funnily enough, my braces content popped off during this year. Everything I didn't expect about braces, that video popped off. Some of my viral videos that I made years ago were still getting like the most views out of all my videos. Isn't that insane? My video that I made in 2019, my viral video, my hair journey, is still making me money. It's still not a lot of money these days, but it's still bringing in views. It's still one of my most highest viewed videos every single year for the past 5 years. The most highest viewed new video that I made in 2024 was my castor oil brow experiment. I kind of knew something like this would do well because castor oil was trending. I am also still doing my castor oil eyelash challenge. I only just started it like a week or 2 ago. That one is coming in 2025. Let's talk about the videos that flopped. Bold glamour style / mob wife video part 2 kind of flopped. I think it was also partly the thumbnail, but this was such a fun video to make. I had so much fun with it and the people that did watch it really enjoyed it. I started trying to dabble in like reset routines and beauty routines because I really enjoy watching those. They do really well on YouTube. They all flopped. I tried making like vlog style videos, they all flopped. I also uploaded my final episode of my Bratz series, which did hugely well back a couple years ago, and I finally made like the final episode, which was about my Bratz posters, and that flopped. Looking back, I can see that it's the thumbnail and the title, and yeah, it needs work. I'm gonna change the thumbnail. I tried to do more skincare videos, they kind of all flopped. My hair masks video, where I spent literally hours and hours and hours on end collecting all of these comments to find out what were the best hair masks, flopped. My eco styler video, spent so long on that video, so much research went in. I ended up spending more time on that video than I originally was meant to because I got really into the research, flopped. So being a content creator, especially in 2024, was pretty challenging. I'd say I had more flops than wins. The wins were few and far between, and the wins weren't even like high wins. They were like, when I'm saying the videos that did well, I'm only counting because they got like over 30,000 views. The year of 2024, I actually wasn't earning enough to be a full-time content creator, but I was very fortunate to be living with my dad most of that year. I wasn't paying any rent, and that is how I was able to do it. That's just to show you, you know, if maybe you're thinking of dabbling in YouTube, it's bloody hard. I'm now only just starting to rebuild it, and it took a year just to rebuild it. Let's change the tune a little bit, shall we? My main goal actually for 2024 was actually to do some traveling, which did not end up happening. Now, there is kind of a story behind this. I won't go too into detail, but essentially at the end of 2023, me and my boyfriend Lewis had broken up. So I thought that in my new like single era that I would go traveling. This would have been the plan, but luckily Lewis and I did actually end up getting back together. So it didn't really make sense for me to just go and disappear for like 3 months and live in Costa Rica when I was trying to rebuild a relationship. So I did prioritize rebuilding my relationship. I'm so glad I did, because now we are in a much better place. We are living together. We moved into this house at the end of 2024, renting, mind you. I also wanted to do a Trover trip, which is this company that partners up with influencers and content creators to get to like do a holiday with their viewers. So that was another thing I tried to do in 2024, did not go to plan. I didn't get enough bookings, and you had to get a certain amount within like a certain amount of days. I did not reach the threshold, so that didn't go to plan. I made a little video short explaining that, but in case any of you didn't see that, that's basically what happened to that. So that was one of my first major fails of 2024. Oh, another of my goals actually was to start a scrapbook, because if any of you watched Legally Blonde 2, do you remember the opening scene where they're going through this like really cute pink girly photo album, and it's just photos of Elle Woods like throughout her life, and it's like all decorated cute. When I was a kid, I always wanted to do that, but I just never did. So I actually went online and I found myself a pink photo album slash scrapbook with the idea to like do a cute scrapbook of like the last 5 to 7 years of my life. I actually did start the scrapbook. I completed the first page, but I got so overwhelmed with going through all my old phones, finding out how to like print them off, like, and the different sizes, that I actually ended up not doing the rest of it. But it is a goal for 2025 to finish at least my university portion. I was going to do a page spread for each year. I'm going to put in a little clip of what it looked like. It was actually really cute. The goal that I did complete for last year was to move in with Lewis. That is something that did happen, albeit later on in the year. One of my goals was to store all my old phone photos and videos onto a hard drive. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be paying a subscription just to store my phone photos. I have been researching for like the last year, not like ongoing, but every now and then, trying to find ways that I can store like all my old phone photos in a way that I don't have to pay like a monthly subscription, because then you're like literally locked in for the rest of your life, unless, because who's ever going to get rid of their photos? Do you see what I mean? Anyway, so I've been trying to find some alternative that does not involve me having to pay for like iCloud storage. Okay, so I actually use YouTube Music rather than like Spotify or Apple Music or anything like that, because being a YouTuber, YouTube being like my most consumed content, it actually gives you no ads when you watch YouTube videos. Paying a couple of quid extra on my music subscription to have no ads is like highly worth it for me. Let's find out what I was listening to most in 2024. I already know this. Top track that I listened to the most was Stick Season by Noah Khan. I heard this on the radio one time and I just could not stop listening to it. I freaking loved this. I learned all the words. It was just so like catchy and I would sing along. My second top track was Where Do We Go by Dimension. That is such a banger. That is such a good track. It just made me want to be like in a festival dancing. My third was In Pieces by Chloe. This is such a beautiful song. I actually listened to this quite a lot during my breakup, but luckily we got back together. I still listen to it every now and then. It's just, I don't know why, I just love the way she sings it. It's such a beautiful song. I also listened to 28 by Ruth B. I really love Ruth B. Actually, most of her stuff from like quite a few years ago now. My top artist, of course, was none other than Lana Del Rey. Freaking love her music. Ever since I was 16, first got her album actually for my 16th birthday. I didn't even really know who she was. I think it was my mum just bought me her album because like I guess maybe she heard about her on the radio, that she was like become popular with her track video games. And then I found like some of her more like underground work on YouTube because I would like search her music, and I found like loads of her like old unreleased music, and I just got like really down the rabbit hole with Lana Del Rey in my teenagehood, and ever since I've just always loved her music. Oh, my top album of Lana Del Rey. Did you know that there's A Tunnel Under Ocean Boulevard and Honeymoon, closely followed by Avril Lavigne, love a bit of Avril, then of course Noah Khan, Taylor Swift. No offense at all if you're a Swiftie or if you're a Taylor Swift fan, but I used to not understand the hype with Taylor Swift. I did not listen to her music. I did not like her music. I didn't really like her sort of style, her branding. Like, it just wasn't for me. Like, just wasn't a Taylor Swift girl. But I started listening to her Midnights album last year, maybe it was the year before, and I like just allowed myself to like kind of just enjoy and get into Taylor Swift. Anything before 2023, 2022, I still to this day, it just wasn't my thing, but I really like her newer stuff. So yeah, I like Taylor Swift now. Who knew? Actually, to be honest, when I was like 13, freaking loved Romeo and Juliet, the song that she did, like one of her first ones when she was like proper country. Really loved that song. Oh my gosh, my top podcasts were Diary of a CEO. I did listen to a lot of him. Internet Analysis by Tiffany Ferg. Huberman Lab. Oh, I'm surprised. Okay. Actually, some of these aren't quite right because this is only going off of YouTube and I listen to podcasts elsewhere. So actually, one of my most listened to podcasts of 2024, which is not on this app, is Jenna Barclay Talks in Class. She just talks about like nostalgic stuff from the 2000s. She has a really popular Instagram account which she just does like skits and like funny videos of like 2000s nostalgia, just funny stuff, and I just love her content. So I was loving Jenna Barclay in 2024. Oh, here it is. Okay, so I didn't realise that Nectar does, like Nectar card, so like what you use for like Sainsbury's and everything, has like a yearly wrap. Somebody told me about it and I was really intrigued, so I went on my Nectar app to figure out what was like my most purchased items, like grocery items. So this is only including Sainsbury's, right? But I thought this was hilarious. So in my local Sainsbury's, which is the one I've just moved to, I am the number 2 buyer of Outpro No Sugar soya milk. So when I saw this, I thought it was for like the whole of Sainsbury's in the UK, and I was like, what on earth? There cannot be any way I'm the number 2 buyer, but it's just the local Sainsbury's like in my town. I am the number 2 buyer of Outpro No Sugar soya milk in my town. Who would have thought? And it did make me laugh. Me and Lewis had a good old laugh about that. Yeah, have a look, like log on to it. It actually made me laugh. Usually at the end of every year, I like to get like a big thing of paper. So like I'll show you. Some of the things on here are kind of personal. I'll blur it out. But for instance, I usually make like a big page in my like little art book, and I'll have like my 2020 something. And then I write down all of the things that were like significant that happened that year, and just the things that were good or achievements or just like sweet things, nice things, just like things I want to remember. It's just nice to look back over the years and actually see what I achieved, because sometimes I feel like, Jesus, it's been like 5 years. What have I done? Like sometimes it's so easy to think, what on earth have I done? Like it feels like time's passing you by, you're not achieving anything, you're not getting to where you want to be. But actually, if you were actually to do this every year and you looked back over your years, like even just me looking back over these, I'm like, oh my God, I forgot that I did that. Like that's amazing. Like, oh my God. In 2023, I passed my driving test. I met some new friends, produced my own burlesque show, got like all of these things. So I did it again for this year. And although this year was a bit more of a quiet year, I still had some quite big, significant things happen in 2024. Maybe not so much career-wise, but like spiritually, another level. So I'm gonna like run through some of the things. So in February of 2024, I went to a Bratz party in London. This was so fun. If you haven't seen, I made 2 little like videos on my Instagram of like what it was like. My childhood soul was just like fulfilled at that party. It was so cool. It was like a costume party, so you could dress as your favorite Bratz doll, and they were giving out prizes, and I actually got a prize. I won one of the new Bratz Chloe dolls for my costume. I dressed up as Jade from the anime animated series, the outfit that she wears like quite often in the series and that she wears in the Rock Angels movie. I didn't think anyone would get my outfit because you kind of have to have had like watched a lot of Bratz in order to know that outfit. Literally, I was over the moon, and I got to go with one of my best friends, Dana, from university, who I don't really see very much these days, unfortunately, but yeah, it was really special to me that she was there with me, and she dressed as Chloe. At the end of 2024, I started going to the gym again, which was good because I had not been very active during that year, but I did get my butt in gear around November, and I've been going strong, and it's now the end of January. Oh my goodness, I went to Italy. Me and Lewis went to Italy in April. We went to Rome and Sicily. I have a whole vlog about that on my channel, and I have like a longer version of it on my Patreons. That was really nice. At least I did get to do a little bit of traveling. Oh yes, and I made my second channel in 2024. Another good thing I did, I decluttered actually quite a lot of my belongings in 2024. So obviously when I moved to my dad's, I sold loads of things on Facebook Marketplace, sold loads of clothes on Depop and Vinted. You can follow me at Isabella Demarko if you want to buy any of my old clothes. I did a boot fair, sold a fair amount there. I took loads of bags to the charity shop. Also, Lewis did a big clear out as well when he moved out of his place. We cleared out a load of his old clothes. It just felt so good to like declutter, but we still need to declutter more because we want to potentially move abroad next year, so we are going to have to downsize a lot. It's an ongoing process. I grew my nails long again. I hadn't grown my nails this long since 2017, and then I cut them when I started my acting course, and I never really grew them to that length again just because it was impractical. But 2024, I had my long nail comeback. Unfortunately, I did cut them off again because 3 of them broke, and I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be walking around with like 3 short nails and the rest of them long. It just doesn't look good. I don't care what you say, it just doesn't look good, okay? But I am growing them out again, and I'm making a video about it, so stay tuned. I posted a total of 28 YouTube videos. That doesn't sound like very much, but it's hard, you know. I'm a one-woman band. I don't have an editor. I don't have anyone helping me. I don't have a manager. I don't have anyone doing my admin. I literally do everything and run all of my social media and do all my emails, negotiating. I also started posting more reels to my Instagram account last year. I had always wanted to get into doing more like reels and just experimental fun stuff on my Instagram, and I finally started doing that last year, so I'm proud of myself for that. I'm not much of a reels girl. It just doesn't really come naturally to me. I find it tedious to make them, film them and edit them. I guess I'm just more of a long form content girl, and I also don't like having to do the research to find like popular sounds. Like, I just can't be asked with that stuff. I rather just make my own stuff than try and figure out what's trending and what music is popular or like what's a popular thing everyone's doing. I just can't, like, you're confused. You don't know who I'm talking to, do you? It's a camera, darling. That is why I sometimes struggle with being a content creator, because I do often go against the grain, and it's not always the best financial and career decision for me to go against the grain, but I do. Yes, we do, because we are creative at heart, aren't we? You're going to get distracted by Dutch right now. I'm not going to talk about this too much, but one of the most significant, probably the most significant thing that happened in 2024 was I went to a festival called Small World, and I had quite an experience there. I don't know if I'm going to get flagged for saying this, but I tried, you know, sometimes you have like, you go to a restaurant, you get a starter, you get maybe like some garlic mushrooms with a little bit of magic sauce. I had some of those, lovely, from the earth. It's a natural thing. I know that might be controversial depending on who's watching this. So yeah, I had like what they call a hero dose of some wonderful yummy garlic mushrooms at the restaurant. I had one of the most beautiful experiences of my entire life. This is something I would like to talk about more. I'll probably maybe make a video about it on Patreon if I do, just because I'm not sure the vibe, if my audience are into that. It was so profound that I can't not talk about it. I really, I just feel the need to talk about it, but I don't know, like, is this the place to do that? I don't know, so I might do that on Patreon. Quite a few things happened following that and like around that time that were very, like, I had some huge realizations, huge realizations. come. All right, stay there. Like, I will remember that for the rest of my life. Genuinely changed my mind about some things and has made things a lot clearer. I understand things I didn't understand before. I feel like I unlocked parts of my brain. Everything made sense. Just life itself, why we're here, everything made sense. And since then, I've not really been able to explain it to anyone, and I've not talked to too many people about it because I don't know what people's like thoughts are on that. I want to talk about it more, but I don't know. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on that. Through that, like after that experience, I had this crazy breakthrough where all of a sudden I could meditate. Finally understood what meditation meant to me and how to do it for me. I feel like meditation can be slightly different for everyone, but I found it so easy to meditate after this experience. And unfortunately, it kind of like died away. So I lost the practice of it and I kind of lost connection with it, which happens. Like, you know, we're human beings, we have lives, things come up, things change, we're constantly changing and evolving. But yeah, I'm trying to like go back to it every now and then. So I have meditated more than I've ever meditated in my life in 2024, working on just connecting to parts of myself, part of my brain that I neglect and haven't really spent much time with. That was probably one of the most biggest things of 2024. And if I didn't talk about it, I would feel like I wasn't being entirely honest. Like I want to genuinely tell you about things that have been meaningful in my life. And if I didn't talk about that, it would be leaving a huge chunk out of the year that meant a lot to me. So that's something that happened. I also got to celebrate 2 family weddings this year. People close to our family, beautiful, so much joy, so much love was spent. That was a really nice thing to happen. I'm gonna have to add this in, but I totally forgot I also made my first like digital product this year that I actually managed to sell. So I made these beauty trackers, which was based off of a habit tracking system that I've been using myself to like track certain beauty products and beauty routines that I do. I decided to sell them. So I sell like the A4 printout and it's like $1.99 or depending on your currency, and then you have it for life. You can print it as many times as you want. I have used these for a long time now. Here's my hair one currently. I have 2 actually on the go every month. One for like health and workflow and one for my hair. I have like a load of extras at the back so that every month I can make a new one, and it helps me keep on track so much. So I don't sell like a lot of them, like I'm not making like huge money from it. It's like maybe between £8 and £10 a month that I earn off these. But yeah, I'm so proud of myself for doing that. I've always wanted to do something like that. That was a little win for me to actually create something, a digital product, and start selling it online. So if you ever want one of those, it's always in the description of all my videos. There's a few things I forgot to mention. I also started going to bachata classes, which is a type of Latin dance. That was really fun. I actually got like to a pretty good beginner level. I don't know if anyone watches Married at First Sight Australia, but there's this incredible woman called Lucinda who was on one of the last seasons, the Australian one. She's called Lucinda's Light on Instagram. She did a seminar in my hometown. I went along to that. It was so cool to see her live. Genuinely, if you watch that season, she is like the light of that whole season. Such an inspirational woman. I'd recommend that season. It was really good. I will put it on the screen somewhere. Okay, let's quick fire some books that I read. So I am not much of a book reader, but I did manage to complete a grand total of 2 books this year. So I read, sounds so pathetic. So I read The Little Princess, which my brother actually bought for me. It was a film that we used to watch in our childhood. Really, really good book. I enjoyed it. It gave me nostalgic vibe. And I also read Flowers in the Attic, which is another like weird old film that we watched as kids. It was written in the 70s and I think the movie was from the 80s. Very bizarre. So reading the book was very nostalgic as well. I also reread How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. This was a book that I started reading when I was 17 and I read most of it, but I never read the last couple of chapters, so I thought I'd revisit it. Again, I still haven't finished it. It's one of those books that can get a bit repetitive, I feel, so I pick it up every now and then and read a chapter here and there. But yeah, so I've been rereading that. I also read The Little Book of Earth Magic. Again, this is one of the books that I picked up after my whole breakthrough experience, and I just got a bit more interested in like the earth and like what's actually like the mysteries and the magic, and it actually had to do with like crystals and like little like rituals you can do to connect to the earth. So yeah, that was cute. I also found a book called Ask Your Guides in a charity shop, so I've read the majority of that as well. That's another kind of spirituality book. I started reading a book called It Girl, but I did not enjoy it. I've actually stopped reading it now because I just couldn't get through it. Really boring. And I also started reading the Crystal Hefner book, who was Hugh Hefner's last wife. She made a book kind of similar to Holly Madison's Down the Rabbit Hole. No shade, but I kind of feel like Crystal Hefner kind of cashed in on that idea. To be honest, it was actually really interesting, but again, I never finished it. I do want to finish it though, but it's just one of those books you kind of have to be in the mood to read. Sometimes I'm just like not in that frame of mind where I want to hear about the wife of Hugh Hefner and her life in the Playboy Mansion. So actually, I didn't keep track of the movies and TV series that I watched in 2024 because I didn't know I'd be making this video. Some of the movies that I remember watching and loving were Interstellar. Oh my god, this came out in 2014, so 10 years prior, but I watched it for the first time, thoroughly impressed. Beautiful movie. And I actually figured out one of the key parts of the film like before it happened, which was really cool. Another great film I watched was The Outrun, with really good film about alcoholism. Really good film and like becoming sober. I also watched A Quiet Place for the first time. Really enjoyed it. And The Joker, oh my goodness. Everybody was saying that the Joker movie with Lady Gaga was like a flop. I freaking loved it. I thought it was beautiful. Honestly, I could make a whole video going on about this, but I will try to keep it short. I'm a massive fan of like the Joker and Harley Quinn franchise. I was obsessed with Harley Quinn when I was like a teenager, and I grew up watching cartoons with my brother when I was a kid with Harley Quinn, so the Joker and Harley Quinn has always had like a special place in my heart. Also, was madly in love with Heath Ledger around 2008 when he died, and when he played the Joker, and I was just madly in love with him. So when I saw the first Joker movie, phenomenal. Absolutely everything I could have wanted in a movie about the Joker and his story. It was perfect, absolutely perfect. And what made it even more special was that I actually watched it with Lewis on one of our first dates, and then we actually dressed up as the Joker and Harley Quinn for our first Halloween together. It was so cute, so cute. So yeah, very special memories. Everyone was saying that it was really terrible, and when I heard it was going to be a musical, I was a bit like, not sure about that choice. Why would they do that, you know? I actually thought it was very tastefully done, considering it was a musical. What they did with the context of the scenes, I thought they actually did it really well. I thought it was very thoughtfully made. It had some really interesting imagery and subtleties, and even the whole colouring of the film was beautiful. Like the shots, some of the shots they got were awesome, like so cool. I loved the story of Harley Quinn, and I just thought it was bloody brilliant. It meant a lot to me, and the ending, I obviously won't spoil it for anyone, but the ending was very clever, so you kind of have to like be in the know, which made me feel really special. Oh, and one series I did watch that I remember particularly thinking was very good was The Tattooist of Auschwitz. Be warned though, it was really sad, but it was actually very well done. The story was really good. It was a true story, most of it. I learned a lot about the Holocaust, those awful times. It had a lasting impression on me, so yeah. I think it is a book as well, but yeah, the series was very good. Let's talk about... Okay, I wanted to talk about some of you guys because I have noticed you. I see you. For those of you that comment a lot on my videos and on my Instagram videos, I see you, and I wanted to just give some honourable mentions to some people that I always notice kind of popping up. For my YouTube, one person that I always have noticed in particular for 2024 was LaBelle's Grace. Hey girl, hey. Thank you so much for always commenting on my videos. I see you. And then some more honourable mentions. So these are like more people that I just notice always are commenting on my videos. I have written this down so badly. I can't read my own writing, but it's Alexandra Vikina Perry, Charlotte White 4160, Sandra Hope 6086, Wonder Creates, Priscilla Morgan 7249. I always see you. Thank you for always leaving such nice comments. Marie Embed Week 359. I'm so sorry I'm butchering these names. I can't spell. Denise Moya 495, Preet Phoenix 1, Ruby Willow 2794. Some of those aren't particularly of last year, but I just recognize their little like photo icon and I just always see them. So thank you guys so much. Also, there's more. So that was just for my YouTube videos. Also, of course, there's Shannon, Lucy B, Cat Puts, I don't know if I'm saying that right, Caputse, incredible artist. I will link their Instagram. Always comments, I see you. Kaylee Goddard, Carolyn N, Isabella, Brian John Robson, Sarah 0678, hey Sarah. So I actually have a different list for Instagram. So we have PJ Boulon, Brendy Bren, Bratz Shady 18, my _Bratz _world, Chloe Sweeney, Mystic _Minx, and Kaylee J Webb. There are actually more, but I literally only made this list last night. So because this was quite a last minute video, I couldn't write down as many as I actually do recognize. It doesn't mean I don't recognize you. There's so many more that I always see and recognize. Those were just the people that I've written down. I didn't get a whole lot of time to like fully look through my comments. I could only look through like a limited amount of videos. So those are my honorable, most engaged viewers of 2024. And there's also a lot of people on Patreon as well who always comment, who always watch all my Patreon stuff. I love chatting to you guys over on my Patreon as well. So let's talk about my goals for 2025. So some of these I'm not going to share because some of them are personal. I am going to try and share as many as I can without it getting too lengthy. So obviously one of my goals for this year is to get really clear on a moving abroad plan with Lewis. I've spoken a little bit more about this on Patreon. I just made like a life update video talking more in depth about like my personal life. I also want to do a trip to America this year and hopefully visit a friend that I have out there. I also want to do a festival because do you know what I realized? Because I am 29 this year, that means that this year is going to be my last summer of my 20s. Which is quite alarming. So I figured I better make this summer a good one. So I really want to do a festival this year, but like a bigger festival, because the festival I did last year it's actually quite a small one. Loved it, but I want to do like a big festival. I just want to let my hair down. I want to listen to lots of drum and bass. I want to just jump up and down, lose my shit and just go crazy and just go absolutely wild. Like I just want a wild one. I also want to visit my friend Dana. She has a new house now and she's now married. Actually, one of my biggest goals for 2025 is to focus more on community, strengthening my friendships and relationships and making more friends and just like focusing on like a social life, because that is something that I have really neglected over the years. I've never been so good at it. I very easily become a hermit. I'm very easily just like totally okay with my own company, and I'm starting to realize that actually in life relationships and friendships are so freaking important, even just to your health. Like there's even studies that have shown that people that are within a community live like it was like something like they live 10 years longer. I don't know if that's exactly right, but it was a considerable amount. We're going to charge up my camera and come back to this because this is like the longest video I've ever made in my entire life. I had to have a little break. This video is so long. Just made myself a little hot chocolate. It's actually the Horlicks chocolate. Oh, I'm obsessed with it. It's so good. Okay, so let's talk about some of my goals for 2025. Undoubtedly, I will have more goals than this throughout the year, but these are kind of like my main ones beginning the year. So my main focus for 2025 is going to be about strengthening my sense of community, nurturing my friendships, building new friendships, and just trying to build better habits with my social life. So I've already started working on this. I'm also sort of working on a video about it as well, and I've been taking actionable steps to work on this already, all of which will be revealed in future videos. I also want to make more of an effort with my Patreon community. I have like a library of content on there. I have my original burlesque series, I have vlogs dating back to 2021, Patreon only exclusive life updates where I get really personal. I talk to you about what's going on in my life behind the scenes. And yeah, I just have sort of like random videos that I post on Patreon over the years. But I wanted to get more into like live streaming and potentially doing like a monthly, maybe like a Google Hangout, like a live hangout. Duchess is giving me her paw. I've strayed away from doing lives because I don't know, I just find them kind of not scary, but I just find them confusing. That's another thing on my list, to engage more, find ways, like fun things to do with my Patreon community. I would love to do a meetup, but I'm not quite sure of the logistics of how that could work, and also like security, things like that. Like I'm not sure how safe it would be to do a meetup. So that's just something I maybe want to look into. Also, one of my main goals is obviously to like look into and like start making some like solid plans for moving abroad. I want to do a trip to America to visit my friend. I also want to see some more of my uni friends this year. So I've already organised to meet a few of them for my birthday. So that will be next month. I'm like pushing myself out of my boundaries already by meeting some uni friends. That sounds ridiculous, but truly, like, this is something I struggle with. I also want to increase my income in 2025 because my income has been so all over the place and quite low and up and down for the past 2 years. And I have potentially a part-time job, which I'm sure I can talk more about as the months go by. So it looks like my income will be increasing this year, thank goodness. And I also have on here to like at least finish the university section of my scrapbook. Hopefully next year we can do another video like this, look back at these goals and see if I've managed to actually achieve any of them. I know this video might have seemed a little bit self-obsessive. I do struggle with that with YouTube. Often when you make videos about your own life and about, you know, yourself being the subject, it does become quite self-involved. It's quite hard because there's not an actual other human being in the room with me. I can only really speak about what I know and what I can talk about right now, and because I'm the only person in the room, I do realise that it is quite easy for content creators to come off that way, because a lot of the time, like, we are literally speaking to a camera, there's not another human being here. Our channels are often built around our own life and ourselves, and it's quite easy to become like very in your own little bubble. I have become quite aware of that over the last year, and just how I can like actually come out of my own like self-absorbedness. And it's hard having YouTube because obviously people watch because they're interested in what I'm doing or in my life, things like that. So obviously that is what I've been talking about in this video. So I just want to say that I am aware of that as well, even though I've literally just talked about myself and my own life for the past like hour. But I did think it would be a bit fun. I also, before I go, I want to just mention one thing that has really been useful that I want to start doing again. And I used to do this at the end of every month. I would get like a page of a book and I would write like the month, and I would write everything good that happened during that month. Kind of like the yearly thing, which I do at the end of every year, but I would do it for every month. Because when you actually look back over your month, you realize how much you've actually done. The way I do this is I'd go through my diary or even just through my camera reel to just remind me of the things I'd done that month, and like usually you do a lot more than you realize. If there's one thing you want to take away from this video, is to maybe just have like a little end of the month achievements and like nice things that happened that month, little wins, significant things, things you celebrated, things you didn't do that were good. So that is something that I want to start doing at the end of every month again, because back when I was doing that, it was really nice to have that reminder, and also to look back at the end of the year and be like, oh my god, I've actually done so much. And then it helps you at the end of the year make your final like end of year huge achievements and significant moments, when you can look back through the months and see all of these little wins. And maybe if you're a viewer that doesn't comment very much, leave me a comment. I want to see you, I want to meet you, I want to have a conversation with you in the comments. I hope you have found it comforting, interesting, entertaining. Thank you so much for watching and for continuing to watch my videos. I really appreciate it, and I'm so glad that you're here. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Mwah.